Hey guys, in this video we'll walk through how to use the PAT page. Use this page even before you score to decide if you should go for 1 or 2. With that said, let's dive in. Okay, so here we are at the PAT page. Before we dive in, let's take a quick look at how this page is set up. The scoreboard and play detail sections are the same across all pages, with the exception of, on this page, there's no need to enter down and distance. Entering field position is enough. And since updates on other pages carry over, this page is always very easy to update. The PAT recommendation section at the bottom of the page displays a required success rate. The default value is grayed out and set to 0%. We'll dive into it with an example, but let's start by defining what it is. The required success rate is the baseline conversion rate for deciding on whether or not to go for 2. In other words, go for 2 if you feel like the conversion rate for your 2-point attempt play will be at or above the required success rate. Otherwise, go for 1. Let's walk through a quick example so you can see it in action. Now on the screen, you can see a game scoreboard that we'll reference for this example. Once again, to keep it realistic, let's start from the 4th downs page as if we're in the red zone and have just run this game state, so we know whether or not we're in 4-down territory. The standard way of using the PAT page is after touchdown plays, but we also recommend using it for drives that get to the red zone in anticipation of scoring. In both cases, you'll get valuable context about going for 1 versus going for 2. So now, let's use the navigation pane at the bottom of the page to go to the PAT page. Now, here at the PAT page, since the information from other pages transfers over, we only need to update the clock and field position. And remember, we're using the PAT page in anticipation of scoring. We haven't actually scored yet. So for the clock, we'll just enter an estimate for when we think we may score, and then update as needed. So let's update the clock to 8:18 and the field position to our opponent's 3. Now let's submit this updated game state and evaluate the results. For this game state, the required success rate is 76%, meaning if you have a 2-point attempt play in mind, you think your team can convert 76% of the time or more, then you should go for 2. For context, as a general rule of thumb, 2-point attempts are converted around 47% of the time. We recommend using the 47% conversion rate as a PAT decision threshold. Compared to this number, the lower the required success rate, the more likely you should go for 2. The higher the required success rate, the more likely you should go for 1. So to summarize this PAT decision, 76% is a really high number, meaning you should strongly consider going for 1. For another quick example, let's change our score to 19 and submit and evaluate the results. To summarize this PAT decision, now we see the required success rate is 28%, meaning if you have a 2-point attempt play in mind that you think your team can convert 28% of the time or more, then you should go for 2. And you should, because this is a really low number. And that's it. That's how you use the PAT page. Check out the other videos and please reach out with questions or for more information. Thanks.